getting hit multiple times coming out of that bike section. More drivers coming to blows.
Well, hello and good evening, everybody. Welcome back here to Slow Motion Broadcasting, and welcome back to the Sim Racers Group F3 Championship. This is round number 10 of the season, coming to you tonight from Zandvoort. My name is Maunz. Alongside me in the commentary booth is Joshua Wilkie. Mike Braun is our producer for tonight's broadcast. Well, Josh, as we get into the final 3 rounds of this season, we continue on our march through the Formula One calendar and head to a track that will host what could very well be its final Formula One Dutch Grand Prix, at least for the foreseeable future, this upcoming weekend in real life. We're now here in the sim for one of the final F3 races here in this series, and I think we're going to have some fun. This track is more or less built for F3 cars. Not a lot of people know about this event, but every single year from the 90s up until the late 2010s, the F3 Masters race was held here at Circuit Zandvoort every single year. Some of the best drivers that there ever has been in open wheel racing have cut their teeth in this car at this track, so it's very fitting that we get towards the end of the season here at this combination.
Yeah, absolutely, Ron. This place is going to suit these cars, I think, really well today, and some of our drivers out there, as well as put up a pretty big challenge for everyone. This place is narrow, it's fast, There's sweeping corners. There's a really couple technical, very hard, difficult corners there with curbs, as well as that kitty litter out there that we're seeing now. Keelan Mikowitz fly by. There's definitely some traps around here. It's going to take some good decision making and some super fast hands around here. Just going through some of this section here, one of the more difficult corners on the track, even though it seems somewhat mundane. It's a difficult one to sort of get that car fed into that corner properly and then really get on the gas out of it in an efficient way down and now into sort of the end of the lap here. Very difficult section where you're just kind of sniping the car through there, as we're going to see Keelan Mikowitz actually have a bit of a throttle down moment there coming out of that toilet bowl section, I like to call it. Of course, you can kind of get toilet bowl there at the edge of the track if you're not too careful, and that's not the only banked corner around here. In fact, it's not even near the most banked corner around here to deal with. So it's a pretty cool spot. I really like this track. It's racy, it's fast. Honestly, I've sat down in iRacing and just done laps around here for fun in some of the machinery, because it's just a fun track. As we can see now, this exit that they have banked out years ago for Formula One returning to Zandvoort. Maybe we'll jump on for a lap here. Heavy braking zone into T1 with Josh Corwin. One you want to spy from a distance, kind of looking for the back of that apex there, and then you're going to really stretch the legs of the car here into this section. Get on the gas here, or sorry, on the brakes here a little bit, just dabbing it to get the car to turn around. And then you do the really counterintuitive thing here. You'd think you kind of want to get down low and rim around the bottom for the fastest lap, but no, that's not what you want to do. You want to stay up high so that car doesn't bottom out, it doesn't get wedged. And then we're into this really fast section here. He's actually going to let off the gas through here. He's decided to take a little bit of a break on that lap. But that section there, probably the fastest section on the course, not straight at all either. I guarantee you somebody at some point is going to try to make a pass down that next section we just missed out on seeing there, and it's going to be a difficult spot to make a pass for sure. But we do have a start coming our way here. Max Linlotto going to lead us to the line here in P1, Keelan Mikowitz in P2, Skylar Vickroy in P3, Traber Burns in P4, Jason Green P5, Alex Velasco in P6, Joshua Corwin will be in P7, P8 will be Tyrone Da Silva, Adrian Lopez in 9th, and Varun Bali in 10th. Round.
And then looking through the rest of your pack, Chris Wang and Nathan Perkins will complete your first page of the starting grid. They're making up row number 6. Row 7, we'll see Michelle Lynn alongside Adam Duvall. Kenan Miller will start alongside Diego Posada in 15th and 16th. P17 will be Kukaran Dillon. 18th will be Chris Eggert. 19th will be the captain, Jason Cotcher. Bob Eggert will be in 20th with Thomas Brashear, completing your 21-car field here for tonight's race. You brought up that chicane on the back end of the circuit, Josh, the toilet bowl section. I think I'd probably more so call it the toilet bowl full of beer, because certainly whenever I'm heading my way through there, not only do I feel mildly intoxicated, I also feel like I get a bad case of the Schlitz as I head up my way through there. I thought of that joke during the track guide, and I regret absolutely everything about it. But we're about to get a start here, waiting for some more of these drivers to line up on the starting grid. Want to thank you all for tuning into the action here on Slow Motion Broadcasting here tonight. We're almost in a Benelux kind of doubleheader here on SMB, because we had the F4s coming up at Zolder next week. We had the American Muscle Series running at Zolder last night, and we're here at Zandvoort here tonight with the F3s. So I guess a little bit of fittingness when it comes to all of that. Waiting for a few more cars to line up here on this starting grid so we can get a start and get things rolling down into what is going to be a sketchy run into turn number 1. It always is here at Zandvoort. It's frantic. It is nerve-wracking. This is going to be a hoot. Waiting for those lights to come out here for race number 10 of this season and the sprint. The lights are out and the drivers are on their way. Really squirrely start there for that was Max Linlotto, really off trouble as he headed his way off the line of side-by-side, heading our way into turn number 1. Drivers wasting no time to battle. Excuse me, Max Linlotto was not the driver with the bad start. That was Traber Burns. Linlotto with an amazing start, though, sweeping around the outside as he heads his way through turn number 3, trying to take the race lead, running on the bottom, ring around the rosy, a pocket full of whatever the old rhyme is, whatever the case is. I can't even speak English right now. Keelan Mikowitz jumping into the race lead. Max Linlotto there in P2. Skylar Vickroy, Jason Green battling for 3rd, and my tongue is over in a different dimension.
Yeah, that was a not so great start there from some of the drivers and a little bit in the back of the pack. I do believe it was Traber Burns there that got a bit of a bad start. Easy to spy that livery. I believe this week, actually, Max and Lotto's changed the color of his livery, looking pretty awesome out there in that orange livery. But just that fighter jet section, you could see them going through there with Jason Green, Alex Velasco, Skylar Vickroy hunting around behind each other. Feels like a dogfight through there. You're just at high speed. There's corner changes. The car handles really well through there, I think is why we end up side by side so many times through that section. Is it just feels like you can almost make anything out of that section in the car. You can really force it around. Is he using the very limits of the track there? Kalen Mikowitz on exit here. He's going to try to keep it a little tighter to the inside on exit for that one. Maybe trying to actually leave a bit of that draft away from the cars behind him. But you know, this place, you're going to be able to hunt passes down here. You're going to be able to stay in the draft of somebody, probably. Mistakes will be made around here as well, so you're going to want to be able to commit yourself to those. Just in the background there, looks like Joshua Corwin and Traber Burns now fighting for position. Joshua Corwin in 6th, Traber Burns in 7th. Going to take a bit of a lower line through that section, so there is a bit of a different mind or two out there as to how to do that very toilet bowl section there, a gravitron section I like to call it. And now we're going through that sort of fighter jet dogfighting section here where always you're hunting around behind another car. Pretty awesome mega section here in any open wheel car.
It was Nathan Perkins, I believe, has run into trouble out there on the racetrack. Just to make up for myself on lap 1, it's Ring Around a Rosie, a pocket full of posies. Posies sounds like something I have to go to a dispensary for, but that's neither here nor there. Kalen Mikowitz, your race leader, still. Maxlin Lotto still keeping him honest, although that gap has now grown to about a half a second between those racers. You got to wonder whether Skylar Vickroy and Jason Green are going to get involved in this fight. Actually heard this past week, Jason Green skipping out on the other weekend Warriors running this past Sunday, was battling an illness throughout most of last week. Still showed up for the last round of the F3 Championship. Nice to see that Jason is on the mend. Back out here on the racetrack here at Zandvoort, a track that we have seen occasionally in Weekend Warriors competition in the past, but right now just trying to stay with the likes of Skylar Vickroy and everybody else farther up the road, although a wedge certainly is being drawn between your podium runners and the rest of the pack.
Yeah, definitely starting to stretch their legs a little bit now. Some fighting going on behind them here will contribute to that. Of course, you can't be quite as fast through a corner if you're side by side or if you're in defense mode or attack mode for that matter here. But Tyrone De Silva now hunting around behind Joshua Corwin as well. So packing up this section a little bit, you can see just how that fight will kind of drive people backwards. Did look like maybe Kalen Mikowitz had a little bit of a mistake there into the early part of the lap. Let Max and Lotto get a little bit more underneath that wing. They're definitely in striking distance there, the top 3. And then, of course, last week's Heat 1 winner, Jason Green, just behind them in 4. Skylar Vickroy also getting some great results there last round as well. There's Jason Green on your screen now, hunting around behind. Actually lost a little bit of touch here with this front pack so far. This is a really easy track run to make a mistake on. It does keep you busy in the cockpit. Not an easy one to drive around on a good day, really. And to get really, it's maybe not the hardest track in the world to lap, but to really extract time out of some of these corners, you have to be so mega committed and so late on the brakes that it really does make it a pretty mega racetrack. And the mistakes tend to be rather large when they do happen. Not always a wall, but definitely going to lose some time. And there's also some walls to catch you here that we've seen in real life. And I'm sure most of us have found as well. Biggest climber so far is Thomas Bashir, up 6 positions there, down in 15th. So having a pretty good run from Thomas here so far, stretching his legs in the race.
Yes, we're running pretty good right now, making up some time as let's take a look at this start. I want to just draw attention. There you can see our 4th place starter here once we grab the green. That was Traber Burns, who was crawling off the line. The thing is here with these F3 cars, they're pretty forgiving off the line, but if you smoke those tires, it's almost like a Top Fuel dragster. You get absolutely no traction, even if you give another like 1% of throttle, you are absolutely doomed. And Traber having to be very gingerly in his approach to exiting turn number 1. As we take a look at trouble there, Chris Wang actually getting popped up into the air as he headed his way down the start-finish stretch into turn number 1. Some more drivers spinning to try and avoid contact. I believe Diego Posada had a good view of this here in the 44 car. smoke in the air, around the outside, able to get that move done. No harm, no foul, but same cannot be said for the driver right behind him at the time. Let's take a look at this. Smoke in the air right about now, and thankfully able to avoid. We talk about the bold nature of turn number 3. One of the major alterations, as unfortunately it was Cooker Dillon, who had to simply spin in that. Cooker Dillon, one of the sponsors of this league through Dillon Motorsports and Tire. More about them later on here in this show. But you talk about the nature of turn number 3. Many of the turns here at Zandvoort did have that banking added in. The final turn had a lot of banking added in. The Ari Lion Dyke curve, which I think is rather fitting, as Bob Eggert's getting a spin heading into turn number 1, which just gotta say, Ari Lion Dyke making a name for himself in Indy cars and making that final turn banked to be twice at Indy, considering he won twice at Indy, is quite fitting there indeed. But it has been a good start for some and pandemonium for others. Still have a meatball flag that Tyrone Da Silva is presently trying to serve.
Yeah, getting our mistakes that I was talking about here, as well as a little bit of argy-bargy now just on board with Tyrone Da Silva. Going to get a little touch from the car behind. Not sure who that was. Maybe Cooker and Dillon, if I can recognize that livery. Going to give him just a small touch there. He's going to end up off the road. So obviously in these open wheel cars, you know, any sort of a touch at all, we got a full four-wheel power slide there from that car around there as well. Almost had another little sympathy spin, but yeah, those mistakes starting to rear their head now, Ron. This is not an easy track to drive around. It's not an easy track to get a pass done on. It's easy to maybe set up a pass around here and have a peek on someone, but to actually get that pass to stick and do it clean is not going to be the easiest proposition around here for sure. Actually, it looks like Kalen Mikowitz now actually pulling away a little bit. 1.1 seconds now, just edging on 1.2. Then you're going to find Skylar Vickroy, then Jason Green. So almost, yeah, they're gapped out just about evenly here from about first back to about 4th or 6th place. Then you're going to find a bit of a bigger gap. Adrian Lopez down there in 8th place, probably the closest battle on track. Maybe Kenan Miller back there in 12th as well. Just on board here, Skylar Vickroy through that section. So mega, so many awesome sort of camber and off camber, and it really does sort of play into the hands of the car, I think, in most vehicles that you can get through here. And it's actually helping you kind of hold on to the track here. You can see that curve, that inward camber there, actually helping the car. One of my favorite sections actually right through here. If you can just snipe that inside as much as possible and then get on the gas, you're really asking a lot of any car around here, aren't you, Ron? Especially through this section here. Even the lower speed corners like this one here I was mentioning in the run-up, not an easy one at all. The car just really wants to either not rotate there, and then all of a sudden it wants to rotate too much, and I think that happens to a lot of people through there as well. So again, coming through this section here now, just following Alex Velasco, another very cool section here that's really easy to get wrong, very easy to get wide on that exit trying to extract it, just sniping curbs around here everywhere and exits. It's a really fun track.
Yeah, it is very enjoyable to drive around as well. I think the only ever, apprehension I've had to running around here was on the old scan, the ancient scan, before they updated it to the track ever since it got updated itself in real life to host Formula One ever since 2021. As we got a little fight here. Michelle Lynn, Kenan Miller side by side, heading off into 1 through into turn number 2 right now. This battle could maybe end in tears if these drivers don't take it easy, but Miller able to sweep around the outside and get that move done just like that. As running wide on exit, gonna allow Michelle Lynn to slip back past once more, able to get it done through turn number 3. But this is an absolutely epic track. The only problem I've ever had running around here was in week 2, I believe, of my iRacing, broadcasting stint. It was back when I was covering the Radicals over on another network before they moved off to the network that they're at right now, which will also remain anonymous. That was only bad for the simple sake that the Radical SR10 that season drove almost like a Formula One car from 1938. The tires felt like they were made out of pure asbestos. The engine felt like it had both no horsepower and a lot of horsepower at the same time. You would spin your wheels in 5th gear in that car is what I'm trying to tell you. But either way, this track is epic.
Yeah, absolutely, and I definitely can back that up there. The Radical did feel pretty bad at first, as we're going to have Nathan Perkins here get that Gravitron section wrong. Really easy to do there on exit. You do want to maximize the top of that. You want to kind of sort of go around the top of the rim there the whole way around and sort of push it. But of course, not quite that far. Velasco having a huge moment there coming out of the final corner, I believe. Again, getting into the curb a little bit there, doing a big old tail wag in front of the car behind him, going to lose the front and the rear of that car in the 777. So unfortunately, you're not going to be pushing air very well with that one. Back to live pictures now. Kenan Miller still fighting around behind Michelle Lynn. Just witnessed a pretty good battle between them. A bit of a mistake there from Kenan's going to give that position back, and it looks like Adrian Lopez missing the nose of his car here as well. So it's all happening as Adam Duvall in front of him is going to hop over the curb there on the inside a little bit too tight on that one. Perhaps they just had a little battle there together, and he's still a little bit frazzled from that one, but pulling away, and Michelle Lynn going to easily get by Adrian Lopez here as well. Kenan Miller now gonna get by as well as Adrian Lopez pulls out of the way as he should here. Looks like he's going to make his way back around to the pit, trying as hard as he can not to get in anybody's way, which is exactly what you want to do. It never feels good, you know, letting people by like that, but of course you have to. They're your competitors out there, and you know, if they still have all the wheels on their wagon, or nose in this case, then you want to let them have the best chance that they can in the race and not hinder it there, and that's exactly what he's gonna do. But looking back behind Michelle Lynn now at Kenan Miller, probably the closest battle on the track. Actually, I say that Tabor Burns actually in a pretty close battle up there as well. You can see this banked corner coming out of this exit here. It's a mega track again. I could talk about this track all day, Ron.
Yeah, I can talk about a lot of things all day myself. Now, whether or not I will be correct in that regard, that's really just up for the viewer to decide. Tabor Burns, we follow him right now, holding on to that P5 spot, still right on the back of Jason Green, who has been able to reel back in, albeit ever so slightly, but reel back in nonetheless, Skylar Vickroy in their continuing battle for that final podium spot. Now, will this materialize into anything? Unclear. We're going to be taking the white flag this upcoming time by, I believe, so not a lot of time left for these drivers to really hack at it. Yeah, right now, Caleb Michaelitz heading his way off into turn number heading into the Hans Ertz chicane right about now, as Jason Green really sideways. Tabor Burns trying to get a move done here side by side, heading into that chicane and sweeping around the outside. Small little kick up as he heads his way off into the gravel trap, but he also heads his way up into fourth in the process. A brilliant move from Burns.
Yeah, great move from Burns there. Saw some blood in the water. Jason Green touched the grass there on exit and got a bit loose. Really easy to do around here. Like I was saying earlier, you want to make sure that you're maximizing everything, and you know, the out of bounds on this track can definitely bite you there. Pretty cool pass as well through that section, and able to use that Gravitron section to really grab the car and hold on to that inside line. Not sure you'd have got away with that on almost any other track there. Keelan Michael was showing us the optimal line now through that Gravitron section. That's going to be your fastest line, basically as high as you can get that car up without high siding it. And through this mega section here, you can see that camber helping the car here, just breathing on the gas a little bit here, maybe touching the brakes a bit to get it turned in, maximizing that exit, hugging the edge of the road, just hugging every little piece of the track around here is going to maximize that lap. Also noticing, Ron, again, we're seeing on this F3 car damage model, all the noses are damaged again. So there's going to be something around here, a curb, some sort of a curb strike that's actually making that happen. I don't really think they're getting any kind of performance issue with that, or if they do, it certainly seems to be across the board. So I don't think it would be much of an advantage or disadvantage for anyone, but we are seeing that again. We're seeing it a little more often on these tracks that have these curbs, and just really aggressive nose down right there. Pretty awesome stuff. I can't imagine what that must feel like in real life in an F3 car around here. Just awesome.
I can imagine it is one heck of a ride running around this racetrack, and certainly the F1 driver is going to experience that for what could be the final time this upcoming weekend. But Caleb Michaelitz going to be running around this racetrack for one final time, at least here in the sprint. The white flag out for him, so I may have potentially called that a little bit prematurely. My defense is that I just came off the back of covering some nasty car racing there at Indianapolis of all places. So nah, we love our NASCAR stuff, but I'm more of a fan of my open wheel cars. They look cooler, they sound cooler, and I think they put on some better racing, to tell you the truth. But either way you slice it, we have got ourselves a good little fight going on throughout most of this pack. Here are the fights that we have of note right now. You keep your eye on this one that we have in camera shot right now between Kenan Miller and Michelle Lynn. Michelle Lynn kind of punching that hole in the air. Kenan Miller currently on the charge, as right now Chris Eggert on more of a charge, trying to get the move done side by side as they head their way up through the S's in this flat out section to get to the tabletop of this racetrack. Eggert and Miller still side by side on corner exit. Kenna Miller looking to hold on for dear life, but Eggert holding on for dear life and sweeping around the outside, getting the move done just like that. That was a brilliant battle between those drivers. I think one of the benefits that Kenna Miller had in that moment of incredibly hard battling is a live spotter with him here in this race. Our very own Avery McDonald joining him to call him through the action here in this race. But up in the front, Kalen Michaelwitz doesn't need a spotter. He rarely, if ever, needs all four wheels in that car. Kalen Michaelwitz scores yet another sprint race win here this season. Max Lindlato comes home in P2. Skylar Vickroy rounds out your podium in third. Traver Burns put together a fantastic race to finish in fourth. Jason Green completes your top five.
Yeah, some awesome racing there as well. Does look like Kenan able to get that position back from Eggert with that mistake. They're actually going to race right down to the line there. Pretty close one. We'll have to say a big hello there to Avery as well. Haven't talked to him in a while. A big SMB hello to Avery in the spotters booth there for Kenan Miller. That's always going to be a bit of an advantage out there for sure, to have somebody that has your back like that. I've only experienced it. Obviously, you know, some of us, when we've done these endurance events and you get a team sort of together and somebody's there to kind of watch your back, it really does make a difference out there. Kind of take a bit of a load off some of the mental stress that might come with some of the decisions you do have to make. But Michaelwitz here gonna take the win. Lindlato, then Vickroy and Traber Burns, Jason Green, Joshua Corwin, Varun Bali, Adam Duvall, Michelle Lynn, and then Kenan Miller in the top 10. I'd say that was a pretty successful Heat 1 around Zandvoort. I would expect, Ron, that they're going to have their eye in a little bit more now. It's going to be a little bit more racy, and of course we have that flip of the top 6 drivers, which always causes some drama. Here's your results from Heat 1. Kalen Michaelwitz, Max Lindlato in second place, Skylar Vickroy in third, Traber Burns, Jason Green in fifth, Joshua Corwin will be in sixth place, Varun Bali in seventh, Adam Duvall in eighth and ninth, Michelle Lynn, Kenan Miller will be in 10th, Chris Eggert in 11th, 12th will be Thomas Brashear, Adrian Lopez in 13th, Alex Velasco in 14th, in 15th, Diego Posada, 16th is Colker and Dillon, 17th is Bob Eggert, in 18th we have Tyrone De Silva, 19th Nathan Perkins, Christopher Wang, or sorry, I always want to call him Christopher for some reason, Chris Wang in 20th place, and Jason Cotcher in 21st, 11 laps down. So obviously, I'm not sure he even actually took the start there or had something right off the rip, but Heat 1 over. On to our feature now. A little warm up here for a few minutes.
Yeah, small little break in the action here as we take a little gander at your championship point standings heading off into this race. In 100-point gap, Kalen Michaelwitz, I think I said this last week and I'll say it once again, to capture the championship, pretty much all that Kalen Michaelwitz needs at this point is a bodily temperature roughly in the 90s and a number 2 pencil. Jason Green, though, still finds himself in a very intense battle there for P2. Typical kind of, JG2 season. Hasn't really been the flashiest. He's been able to score a win in our races so far here this season. But outside of that, we haven't really talked about him as being, this indomitable force that can't be stopped like Michaelwitz. He's just been quietly putting together good results week in and week out in the background, and that can be what wins championships. So come time for that completely different kettle of fish with the Indy next season, he could be a real strong force. Stephen Case not going to repeat as champion for the 5th time in a row. I think that's fair to say right now. He is 3rd in the points. Skylar Vickroy in 4th. Another great season for him. Max Lindlato putting together a good campaign too. Only 9 points back of Vickroy. That could be a very intense battle as we get into the final few weeks, especially Stephen Case missing out on this race. That, I believe, may now be a battle for 3rd. Adrian Lopez, Josh Corwin, Terry Crouch, Kenan Miller, and Dinesh Paborji round out your top 10. We'll take a quick little gander at your team's points here in a few moments' time. I'll let you know how all the drivers are lining up there. Man, 38 drivers classified, 38 in the points. That shows you the kind of participation we have here in this league. Taking a look at your championship point standings, Monster Energy has had the energy to hold on to battle after battle, mainly with Kalen Michaelwitz. 792 points is their tally right now. Skyken Milroy, again, military consistency from those drivers, ending up in 2nd. Doldime Racing in 3rd. Team Casada in 4th. The Magnets is in P5. The Captain and the Grandpa in 6th. Motorsports in 7th. Team SJ Local is in P8. CT Eggshear Boy is in ninth with Du Velasco in P10. The Art Merchants is in 11th with absent graduates completing her 12 teams classified here in the points. Still have a little bit of time left in this warm-up session, so we do want to thank, as we mentioned a little bit earlier on, the sponsor that makes these broadcasts possible here on Slow Motion Broadcasting for this season of the Sim Racers Group F3 Championship, that being Dillon Motorsports and Tire. As a top-rated and award-winning service center, Dillon Motorsports knows that auto service isn't just about the present, it's about the future as well. From star certifications to simple maintenance, you'll be covered with some of the friendliest service in the Bay Area with a focus on customer satisfaction. Dillon Motorsports and Tire, serving San Jose, Santa Clara, Willow Glen, and beyond. We want to thank Cooper Dillon and Dillon Motorsports and Tire for sponsoring this season of action here in SRG. And Josh, we can now look ahead into the main show. 25 minutes, an extra 10 minutes with the top 6 flipped. We saw a pretty hectic start to that first race. What's to say we're not going to see that get cranked up to 10?
Yeah, I think we almost definitely are, to be honest. This rundown into T1 is a pretty tenuous situation there for sure, especially when we're now going to have some of those drivers that are maybe a little faster are going to be behind and really looking to try to make that position up as quickly as possible around here. You really don't want to get stuck in sort of a slow pack of cars around Zandvoort, because it's not going to be the easiest place to get by them. It might be a few laps before you can figure that out. Almost have to intimidate people around here to get around them. If you're anywhere near the same speed at all, you kind of have to intimidate them into letting you by in a few places. It's not easy to just make a dive or get it done. I should fill in here, actually. I was saying Cotcher did not take the start that. It is because he is taking a pit start. Not starting the sprint, and will be doing a pit start in the feature. I believe Perkins, same as Cotcher, though. As well for that one. So, and Poborgia as well as a pit start for Eggers in the first 2 races here in both races here at the Zandvoort. He'll be starting from the pit. So they'll be also coming from the back as well. Joshua Corwin, though, going to lead us in the feature. First place for him, pole position. Just behind him, you're going to have Jason Green, then Traber Burns in 3rd place, Skylar Vickroy in 4th, Max Lotto in 5th. Then Kalen Mikowitz in 6th. Then you'll find Varun Bali in 7th, Adam Duvall in 8th, in 9th, Michelle Lynn in 10th, Kenan Miller. Chris Eggert will be in 11th, and Thomas Brashear in 12th.
And then just a few more drivers here in this field. Adrian Lopez in lucky spot P13. Alex Velasco in 14th. Diego Posada will be in 15th. Kukaran Dillon is in 16th place. Bob Egger, Tyrone De Silva make up row number 9. Row 10 is Nathan Perkins and Chris Wang, with Jason Cotcher starting shotgun of the field down there in 21st position. Drivers already lining up. A top 6 in for Josh Corwin, going to line up from the pole here in this race. This could be where things get stressy, and keep an eye on that green machine, the lean green machine of Jason Green. He's gonna look to try and get a move done here at the start of this race, I'm sure of it. Waiting for those lights to come on and then go out. The lights are out, the drivers are on their way. That's a torrid start farther in the back. Thankfully, everybody able to avoid right behind, and a good start there for Josh Corwin, heading his way down into turn number 1. That's everything that he needed for this start to be. It's a good start as well for the drivers in the back. However, side by side as we head our way down into turn number 2 and 3. That right there is a brilliant lunge down the inside for Traper Burns. Jumps in front of Jason Green. Now Green looking to get him back again as they head their way out of 3 through 4, 5, 6. Building the speed, building the tension, and building the nerves as he's looking for any way in the book to get the move done into 7.
Yeah, that's exactly what you need to do around here. You sort of have to hunt around behind and intimidate that driver to look in their mirrors a little bit and worry about it, get offline. And then you can attack if you make it just right through some of these sections here. We'll see probably some side-by-side racing like that, where you're going to get basically playing chicken through these sections here until somebody just relinquishes the position because they don't want to not finish the race today. Joshua Corwin, though, doing a good job here so far, holding on to that position. Got a great start side-by-side behind there. Jason Green going to take the inside. Not an easy spot to thread the needle too wide there. Oh, he's going to get a little wide, and unfortunately, I think that might have been Vickroy that he got into there. Unfortunately, another car, I believe that might be De Silva as well, caught up in that one. That's going to be one of the more standard sort of accidents around here, Ron. That corner has taken some of the best drivers out on lap 1 and 2 So many times. I've seen it happen so many times here as we are fighting for P1 here. Traber Burns up the inside into T1's going to get that one done on Joshua Corwin. So making some moves here while the rest of the field reeling from that accident moments ago.
Yeah, so Traber Burns jumps up to the front. Jason Green jumps back to the pits after that incident. It's a very easy moment to have happen as you head your way out of that Hans Erst chicane. It is so tricky to try and navigate, and there's a small little patch of curb and grass there on the outside. If you even look at that section the wrong way, you're going to spin up the rear tires, impact the wall, and you will be done for just like that. But it's not just Jason Green that escaped that incident with just a little bit less race car than they started it with. Skylar Vicroy got collected in that. The driver that we saw turn around, last car involved in that, actually smacked the barrier. Is a driver still out there on the racetrack right now? That being Thomas Brashear. We'll take a look back to show you what happened side by side heading into turn number 1. It was brilliant battling with himself and Max Lotto, but just ran a little bit wide, clipped the grass, spins up the rear tires, wrecks the car. There you can see Skylar Vicroy, nothing that he could have done, and then Thomas Brashear, a double impact, double doink into both those tire barriers there.
Yeah, such an easy thing to do. It looked like actually Brashear did it all on his own there as well. Maybe a little bit unsighted from what's going on in front of him, but ended up in the same position. You know, the issue there being is that you're on the gas as hard as you can possibly be. You're trying to maximize that part of the corner. I know every time I go through there, you're almost leaning forward in your seat trying to get through that section, especially right at that moment there. You just want the car to pick up and take off like a cat when it kind of wiggles its bum and then jumps somewhere is what it sort of feels like coming through there. You want to make sure that you get a good pounce, and it just didn't work out. Sometimes you're going to get a little bit wide. You're going to end up in that barrier, and unfortunately Jason Green going to find that one today. Kalen Mikowitz now hunting around behind Max Lotto. This section, one of my favorites here. It feels so much fun being in a train of cars through this section here when you know you can kind of trust the drivers around you. It really does feel like a dogfight, like you're in a fighter jet, especially in these open wheel cars. Just a mega track again. I know I keep harping on it, but I really do love this place. Traber Burns, though, up 2 positions and seemingly looking like he's marching away a little bit here from these 3. So if he can really extend this, if he can make that stick, and perhaps Kalen Mikowitz, you know, gets held up a little bit here, Max Lotto as well, trying to fight for position. You know, he might have a chance at this. 25 minutes is a long time. We're not even 5 minutes in yet, but this track, you know, it will giveth and taketh away here. So we'll see how it happens as, again, extending those track limits, trying to maximize speed out of that final corner here. One of the best places to get a draft done, and that is exactly what Kalen Mikowitz is going to do here. Max Lotto now going to the inside defensively, going to hold off that one for now. The 76 deciding better of it. But yeah, pretty cool stuff out there. Biggest mover so far, Chris Wang up 7 positions, Tyrone De Silva up 6. Then you'll find Alex Velasco up 5 and Chris Eggert up 5. So some moving around out there for sure in these first couple laps. Only 4 minutes and lots of moving going on.
Yeah, Chris Wang up 7. Unfortunately for Diego Posada, he hasn't been able to make up some ground. In fact, he's lost out on some as a result of this. Oh my goodness me, that looked maybe like a hardware failure. I wonder if he lost out on his monitor there as he headed his way out of turn number 1. Just looked like that car went straight and could not get it to turn. Something clearly is awry with that number 44 machine, as that was a very bizarre looking incident. Tries to get the move done here, heading out of turn number 1. Oh no, it was contact. Bad net code. Bad net code. Those cars were so far apart, I didn't even register the fact that net code would be possible there. There you can see, barely in the camera. Oh, okay. He did strain up big time before then, and then the contact was made.
Yeah, that one's a little bit fiddly, isn't it, Ron? There was definitely some netcode involved in that one for sure. It did look a little bit wider, that they had a bit more space in that other camera shot we had there from the kind of more updated one we had. It did look a little closer than previously thought of there, but unfortunately going to end in the same way there, and it's going to put him out. So not a great one there, unfortunately. Varun Bali now getting a position on Chris Eggert, or is he? Chris Eggert fighting back on the outside here now coming the inside and back to the outside. You kind of want to go single file through this section, Ron. You really don't want to be side by side through this Gravitron section. You will lose out if you're on the bottom end of that in basically every situation. So you kind of want to file in and then keep going forward. Varun Bali just in front of Chris Eggert here now, hunting around behind him. lots of positions moved here still. I'm surprised at how many positions actually have been gained here in the wee hours, or sorry, in the beginning hours of this race, or beginning minutes, I should say, of this race. Still lots of close battling going on here. So like I said, these feature races always do seem to kind of shape up a little bit. The heat race maybe kind of still plotting some land. Maybe not, some drivers out there who didn't get quite as much practice during the week. And then that first race is kind of providing it for them, able to find some pace here for the feature. The number 222 looking on the inside there, going to think better of it for now, though. Not an easy place to get a pass done through there for sure. You'd definitely be tingling thinking about that one.
Yeah, that you certainly will. Is side by side, Tyrone De Silva looking to sweep around the outside of Adrian Lopez, heading our way off through turn number 13. Now through our Leindijk curve, our Leindijk bocht, as it's called around this racetrack, trying to make something work, heading into turn number 1. Keeping that momentum rocking and rolling, slingshot engaged down the start-finish stretch. And now Adrian Lopez looking to call the ball. Will we see an overtake? Will we see him finally clear, heading out of turn number 1 through into turn number 2? We finally will. Maybe no. De Silva fights back once more. Big lock up there on the bottom of the bowl. Right now, Adrian Lopez able to rock and roll there on the high side. Got a case of that radar love to be able to jump his way up to 11th.
Nice one. Yeah, that's a pretty cool pass there for sure. You do have to know this track really well to make stuff like that happen, and that's both drivers out there too. You sort of need to know your surroundings, what's about to happen. You kind of need to interpolate things out in front of yourself as to where you're about to be in a moment for that kind of a pass to work, and he was able to get that one done here. Now again on board with Varun Bali. Looks like they're kind of spacing out a little bit now. We got a little bit less orange numbers on the board at the moment here. A little bit of smoke there on the inside, just trying to maximize these corners all of the time. And you can see trying to hug that inside as much as possible to kind of cup that car into that section so you can get the sort of maximum speed through the mid corner there. And lots of gravel and dirt on the ground around here. You can see all of those tire marks on the outside there, people teasing those exits and those entries as well. Looks like he's going to have a chance here on Adrian Lopez to make a comeback in the 480 machine there. He's going to go around the outside, take the inside defensive line. Adrian Lopez will. That's going to be the preferred line through here, but he's going to kind of let that one go a little bit and then get it back on the inside, and that's Zandvoort for you right there. You can see sort of that almost slingshot that he's going to get out of the corner. And again, two really good drivers there, knowing that that's about to happen, not to end up colliding wheel to wheel in mid-corner when it does. So some pretty awesome racing out there. Now back to Chris Eggert here as well, fighting with Varun Bali. That, just talking about, it's kind of spreading out a little bit. Looks like they've actually closed back up again here. So within 2/10 now down the front straight. This could be another close one into T1.
Yeah, and keeping our eye on these cars as looking for the switchback is Eggert side by side as they head their way out of the turn 10 hairpin. This could be dicey, adding down this small little crocodile flat out road, cresting the hill, adding into the downhill braking zone for this 11 and 12 chicane. Still looking for it here is Eggert, hunting for it, and he is going to catch the prey, gets a move done just like that. Eggert jumps up to 5th.
Yeah, and pass through that section, you can see kind of working it out. Through there, it's a left and a right and a left and a right, and if you kind of just work out that rhythm correctly and you're on the gas at the right place, you can do it. And that wasn't necessarily the natural line through there as well from either one of them, but they're making it work for and to get ahead as well, making it work for themselves. But Kenan Miller definitely closing up a bunch of ground there now on these two as well, just behind Varun Bali. Now he's up 3 positions, so he's looking for some more out there for sure. He's definitely got the pace. Going to smoke that inside wheel though, a little bit low on that corner. Again, seeing a bit of a split decision there between some of the drivers to either really run up high or kind of do that mid corner. I think personally that up high line around the top, even though it is making the track a bit longer, you're able to keep a lot more speed up there and a little more stable in the car, and critically really get down on the power a little bit earlier to get a better exit. As you can see now, losing a little bit of time to the cars in front of him here, but all kinds of racing going on out there, spread out a little bit at the moment, but we'll keep an eye out for some of those mistakes. Traber Burns going to continue leading us here in P1. Maxon Lotto definitely maybe making up a little bit of time on him here, but he's going to try to hold that off as much as he can here, be consistent as possible. Not a whole lot of time left here though, so he's got to try to hold that one together.
And what's interesting is, throughout this season, one of the storylines, not just with a driver like Kayla Michaelitz, has been the, continuous success of many of these drivers. Max Lotto, with his pole earlier on tonight, was able to capture his 4th pole position in a row. And Kayla Michaelitz able to get the victory there in the sprint race. Jason Green was actually able to do it last time out at Portimao. Otherwise, that would have now been 5 in a row for Kayla Michaelitz. So we've seen a lot of, familiar names up towards the front consistently. However, you look in the earlier stages of this season here, Josh, in the first 4 feature races this season, we had 4 separate winners: Jason Green, Kayla Michaelitz, Isaac Gardner, and Josh Leslie. Right now, we've only added one more driver into that bracket, that being Max Lotto, who was able to win at Road America some weeks ago. Traber Burns would become, one of, a small selection of drivers to win a feature race here this season, but he would be joining some rather elite company in the process.
Yeah, and I'm sure he wants it. That's definitely a crew you want to be part of here. And you're right, beginning of the season there, perhaps maybe some growing pains. We had a little bit of attrition there early on as well. Not maybe I wouldn't call them necessarily falling anvils, but we have been plagued a little bit with net code and a few other things this season, playing into some drivers' hands and not into others. So need to take that into account as well. But awesome to see different winners here, and Traber Burns possibly on a run here for a win. Max Lotto, they're doing his best to catch up and make sure that that does not happen here. Just on board now with Max Lotto on the inside here, going through one of the more technical sections, coming up to that Gravitron section here, where let's see what kind of line he decides to take here. Is he going to stay up high? And he stays up pretty high up there as well. I like to actually kind of straddle that sometimes, although I'm not sure I've done too many laps around here in the F3 car over the years, so I'm not sure if maybe that does unsettle the car. I'm going to maybe have to let these guys show me exactly how that's done there. But yeah, he's definitely closing up a little bit now. Up 3 positions, Max Lotto is looking for that final one on the step here. Again, it's one thing around Zandvoort to catch up to somebody. It's another thing to make that pass happen. And we've had some pretty good success around here, to be honest, in the last little bit. Perhaps maybe, again, due to that netcode, keeping people a little bit honest, keeping that distance from one another. Not an easy thing to do around Zandvoort at all, though. So a lot in front of Max Lotto and Traber Burns to make sure this happens clean if it does. And Traber Burns, it's hard to be defensive when you know that there's a little bit of netcode out there as well. You want to kind of turn the screws, but not really sure if that's going to end up going poorly for the both of you. So we'll see what happens here with the 541 of Traber Burns and the number 9 of Max Lotto. I think they've definitely got this car's number, and it looks like the track's number 2. So I'm expecting to see some drama here soon.
Yeah, and this drama could come heading down the start-finish straightaway into turn number 1. Traber Burns trying to break that draft, but it could be a fruitless effort. Max Lotto looks for it around the outside, heading into turn number 1, but he'll get hung out to dry. Traber Burns holds on to it for at least one more turn, maybe one more sector, potentially one whole more lap, but Burns is feeling the pressure. He's feeling the burn, so to speak. Max Lotto there in second, definitely laying on that pressure as heavy as a tungsten blanket, but they've got some company. Kayla Michaelitz is not too far away from Max Lotto. 0.76 seconds is a gap between those drivers. Basically nothing compared to what it was a matter of a few laps ago. Things have really shuffled up towards the front of the field. You've got 3 cars as a breakaway, nearly 5 seconds back to find Josh Corwin in 4th, for crying out loud. However, you got those 2 involved in a fight as well. Josh Corwin, Chris Eggert maybe got to start to squabble. Corwin has started to sink down the running order. It's almost been like a hot air balloon that caught on fire. Eggert, though, he's on fire in this race, up 6 spots from where he started. Not the hard charger. That honor goes to Chris Wang, holding on to lucky spot P13 right now, coming back from a pit lane start to currently hold on to that spot. 7 gained since the green, but Eggert's run at the moment still deserves its flowers, and he still has room to grow. We've got 9 minutes left to go in this race, and what is there not to say that Chris Eggert could maybe get that move done there on Corwin? He's certainly looking for it.
Yeah, for sure. I think he's definitely going to give it a shot here, and he's got the time to do it, like you said, Ron. It does look like he's got just a tad more pace out there than Joshua Corwin. It looks like he may be hitting the wall after that, potentially pace-wise, as far as the cars in front of him. But Joshua Corwin, not an easy guy to get around for sure. He's got wide shoulders, known to be a clean driver and everything as well, but not an easy guy to get around. on a good day either. So that could be the wall that stops Chris Eggert as well here, just looking on the timing tower, nice and close. This battle here, though, with Michelle Lynn, Adam Duvall, and Adrian Lopez as well, actually, is Tyrone De Silva. So this one's definitely all to play for here as well for the top 9 positions here. Definitely going to be some moves going on. You can see a little bit of difference in line going through there. Well, Michelle Lynn going to get a little bit loose from that section there, going a bit low maybe, and actually hopping the car a bit and lose a bit of traction there. Adrian Lopez up the inside of Adam Duvall. They're not quite able to get it done yet. They're going to be side by side still. You see this so much at Zandvoort. There's so many options around some of these corners here that it's just hard to hold on to the position sometimes.
You know, most turns is basically a true or false whenever you head your way in there. Here at Zandvoort, all of them are multiple choice. You've got A, B, C, or D. Do you late apex, early apex, normal apex, miss the apex by a country mile? I tend to go for that latter option. Draper Burns feeling the pressure once more, but this is serious. Max Linlado now looking for it down the inside. Close to making contact. That could have ended in tears. Heading into turn number 1. Linlado finally jumps his way up into that top spot. He takes a race lead. Draper Burns now stuck in the draft. Will he be able to get the move done? We'll just have to see. One thing I know for sure, though, Kayla Michaelwitz, who dipped back to about a second not too long ago, he is once again there, and now with a shot at P2, definitely a real possibility. You know that Michaelwitz is going to be eyeballing it. He is sniffing the opportunity as we get into the final 7 minutes of this race. You've got that. You've still got Eggert and Corwin battling there for 4th as well. We've got battles up and down the pack, and a meatball flag for Tyrone De Silva as well. Take a look to see what happened here to Adam Duvall, and contact, big contact is looking to Silva, boy. And the wild roller coaster ride tumbling down the full-on spin cycle. He nearly ballparked it.
Holy cow, in the washing machine, Tyrone De Silva is there, gonna land on the belly of the car, gonna get an onboard here, and he is just in the spin cycle for sure. Ron, car is flailing, tire flailing off the side of it there. Lucky to get out of that one. Absolutely, that is going to end his race for today. Was a tiny bit of netcode if you're looking really closely there, but it would not have mattered in that situation at all. That was going bad either way you looked at it. Max Linlado, though, leading. Pretty standard pass into T1 there, really positioning the car well on exit as well to telegraph to Tabor Burns that he's not going to be able to get that undercut, that I'm going to hold this position. I'm not going to let you get up underneath me at all. And he definitely showed him that. Now pulling away a little bit under pressure from Kalen Michaelwitz. Tabor Burns going to have to definitely keep his nose clean now to hold on to this position. Not going to be an easy one around here. Like I said, you do sort of have to intimidate a driver almost into position unless you can just get it into T1. So we'll see what Kalen Michaelwitz decides to do. Been a little surprised actually at some of the choices that some of the drivers have made to make passes happen. Has been very spectacular and really honestly very respectful driving and stuff. Haven't seen any really big ones till just a moment ago there, and one of the biggest ones we've had all season for sure. So that was huge. That'll definitely probably make a replay at some point. That meatball highly deserved for the 480 there for sure. But up front, the wee hours left here. Max Linlado running away with it, 4 positions up. Tabor Burns up 1 position. Kalen Michaelwitz looking for 1 more position here on Tabor Burns. Tabor Burns trying as hard as he can here to stay 1 position up. Drive a excellent race here so far in the 541, able to hold on to these positions for as long as he has there. Maybe doesn't have quite as much pace, but we'll see. Wee hours, 5 minutes left now. See if he can hold on to it.
Yeah, time is running out for Kalen Michaelwitz to get this move done. Time is running out for Tabor Burns to retake the race lead. But for Max Linlado, he's still got plenty of time left to savor the feeling up towards the front of the pack. 3/4 of a second the gap. It's going to grow as Tabor Burns runs wide as he heads his way out of turn number 1. Now Kalen Michaelwitz going to be all on the back of him, heading their way through the slingshot of turn number 3, trying to make something work. He called it the Gravitron a little bit earlier on in this broadcast here, Josh. I would probably call it the Vomit Rocket. However, I don't believe that is too broadcaster friendly, so I think we'll just call it the involuntary personal protein spill. Tabor Burns still in P2. Gotta wonder, though, I wonder if that pressure is getting to him, because this is not a very familiar position for Tabor Burns. Very good driver, but this is real tricky. Big slide as he headed his way out of turn number 1. Right as I was going to raise it, maybe it's starting to get to him. It got to him there.
Yeah, and you can see it through these 2 spots. Producer and Mayor just saying it is the tire witching hour time, and that is true. As you can see, Traber Burns there scrambling for grip out of those 2 corners. Like I said, those seem like kind of the most innocuous corners in the entire track, but they actually end up being some of the kind of more difficult ones, especially to get the power down. Now just following Keelan Michaelitz here, taking a little bit of track limits there, Traber Burns is. That's going to hurt him down the front straight here. I think this is going to be the best shot Keelan Michaelitz has had yet to get it. Might even be able to get it done. He's going to take the defensive line on the inside. Keelan Michaelitz forced to take the outside line here. Doesn't always work through T1. He's going to smoke the inside tires a little bit, and that is going to hold him off most likely here for this lap. But he will have another chance on that one. You got to try not to smoke those tires now, but it is the tire witching hour. So, you know, this might be it, Ron. That might be the only chance he had. He'd maybe have one more bite at that, maybe 2. If he's really, really lucky, you get 3 chances, but that's going to be about it. I would say maybe one more bite here, and if he doesn't get it, those tires might give up on him. He's not going to have another chance at it. So Traber Burns still holding on to 2nd place there. Max Lotto marching away in first here with the consistency up 4 positions.
Yeah, and I gotta say here, Josh, this track is a brutal one on the tires. There is constant turning. You're battling something at all times. Even heading down this straightaway that we're about to see Keelan Michaelitz circumnavigate, this isn't even a break. This is as close as you can get to a break outside that start-finish straightaway, but you're still turning. The one benefit these drivers have had is track temperatures have been darn near perfect, 90 degrees Fahrenheit, which is maybe a bit on the cooler end compared to some of the other races that we have run here this season, just now ticking below 89 Fahrenheit according to the in-sim weather prediction. So that is really helping these drivers just eke out a little bit more life out of tires that in most situations that were slightly hotter here in the summer, these tires would have been out for lunch a long time ago. As Michael was looking for it down the inside, Traber Burns crowding him down there onto the bottom side by side, heading through turn number 1. Michael was able to gain an advantage heading through the mid part of the turn, but a great exit for Traber Burns, going to keep the fight rolling through 2 and 3. But he got a sideways step, he gets the wall.
It got him. I was warning about that early on. That low line just does not work in these cars. Basically what you're doing is I wouldn't even call it a high center. You're basically going nose and tail through that corner. So you're sort of wedging the middle of the car up in the air, leaving yourself with a really small contact patch on all 4 wheels. You're almost up kind of dancing around on the edges of the tires. You can see him have a moment there as he's trying to kind of woe the car up a little bit. And that's just going to slap him into the wall. So again, you know, there is a few lines you can take through there, but that lower line going to be probably the more dangerous one. A little bit counterintuitive, as you would think going up high might be a little bit more dangerous. And it is, to be fair, Ron, it is. If you can kind of straddle that curb when you're coming out of there, you can also have a pretty big one. Or as we saw, I believe it was. Oh, and we're going to get a replay here from Adrian Lopez. Looks like he's looking around the underside of Michelle Lynn. We're going to have an egregious net code there, unfortunately, and going to catch another driver out there as well. Looks like maybe he got away with that one going through. I don't know. It kind of did look like the tire was hanging off. We'll have a quick look at this here, and we're going to see this net code here live. And unfortunate there, Michelle Lynn being taken for a ride there by Adrian Lopez. Honestly, no real fault of his either. He was clear of it. He was making a normal pass, and unfortunately we're just gonna bite the dust there on that one. We are changing, of course, as we know, to the NXT cars next season. Not just because of that, but that's going to be one of the big drivers here for sure. This beautiful machinery maybe just getting a little aged on the service now, and we're going to be moving to that one. But we are white flag. Max Lotto leading us here around for our final lap. It looks like actually this one might actually end it here. So he is on his final lap right now, holding on to it 1.6 seconds ahead of Keelan Michaelitz. You're going to find Traber Burns 7 seconds behind Keelan Michaelitz, so definitely had some issues there up front. He's actually fighting with Chris Eggert now to hold on to the final podium position, so something happened to Traber Burns out there on these final laps, and it looks like he might even give it up to Eggert now, so under pressure here. Not the way you want to see it if you're Traber Burns.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think Traber may have just burnt those tires a little bit too much, and now he's really in trouble. Thankfully, we're getting to the end of the race, so there's not too much left to fall outside of this. He'll be pretty much guaranteed a top 5, but for a driver who could have had a real good shot at a victory, it is still going to sting either way. Max Lotto, though, going to head his way across a stripe to win it here at Circuit Zandvoort. Galen Michaelwitz ends up coming home in P2. Chris Eggert will complete your podium there in 3rd. Traper Burns ends up in 4th with Josh Corwin completing your top 5. Less than a half a tenth. Well, a little over a half tenth, excuse me, between 4th and 5th here at the end of a very compelling race from start to finish here, Josh.
Yeah, absolutely, especially the final minutes there. Traper Burns just holding on to it. I think you're right, actually. Looking at the ticker, it doesn't look like there was any dramatic incident or anything. He may have just kind of had a moment or two on his own and ended up slipping backwards, barely even going to hold on to 5th place there. Joshua Corwin almost catching up to him. Watching Jason Cotcher now, pit lane starter here, up 10 positions to almost make it into the top 10 there. So great drive for him around Zandvoort, actually. That was a good one. Again, losing the nose of the car there. Adrian Lopez coming around without the nose of the car. This was an interesting one, Ron. There's a lot of attrition out there, a lot of passing, a lot of really good racing, but also a little bit of foibles and stuff as well here. We're going to watch Michelle Lynn now, unfortunately, doing real good there right up until the Anvil got her in the dull dime machine here. Going to bring it home, though, respectfully in the 16th place. Sorry, after a good run. We'll give her, that was a good run on that one. And she is going to take it out on the barrier at the end there, have the biggest crash of the race. And, well, I don't blame her on.
Yeah, I don't blame her in the slightest. That bit of netcode there.
Egregious.
Oh, boy. Max Lotto scores the victory here. It's only 9/10 of a second between himself, and we could probably, officially say our champion-elect here this season, Galen Michaelwitz, ends up in P2. That is, I'm going to hit the books here very, very quickly and mutter dross here as I try and pull this up. Outside of the past 2 weeks here in this champion, actually, no, Galen Michaelwitz got the win in the sprint race earlier. I was going to say, this is the first time in quite some time that he didn't get a win in either one of the races. Nope. I played myself like a fiddle there. But either way, Michaelwitz ending up in P2 in this race. Still a very consistent night. Chris Eggert is in P3. Traper Burns is in 4th. Josh Corwin ends up in P5. Varun Bali is in 6th. Alex Velasco in 7th. Kenan Miller in P8. Chris Wang in 9th. Nathan Perkins will complete your top 10 here tonight.
Yeah, and then you'll find Jason Cotcher up 10 positions to bring himself to 11th place in the 422. Chalmers Brashear finding a little bit of attrition out there today, unfortunately, in the feature race. Going to come home in 12th place. Adrian Lopez as well, missing parts of his car throughout parts of today's racing action. Adam Duvall in 14th. 15th is Bob Eggert, all over the leaderboard today as well. Eggert was Michelle Lynn, unfortunately falling Anvil in the 215 and the Dull Dime Racing machine. They're going to take her out of position into 16th place. Culker and Dillon 17th. And then you will find Tyrone Da Silva, Skylar Vickroy as well, down 10 laps from that early on incident there. Diego Posada and Jason Green as well from that early on incident coming out of the exit of that corner. Really, really easy to do, Ron. I know personally I have laid the power down there only to find myself facing backwards in the wall, missing tires more than a couple times. So it's really easy to do. And I mean, we know if somebody like Jason Green can put a foot wrong there, then certainly anybody can. But that's not going to feel like much comfort losing all those points, unfortunately, today in this one. But I think we probably have some people in the driver's waiting room here, Ron. Maybe I'll take the first one here and I'll grab, you know what, let's bring in Jason Cotcher here and have a talk with him about that pit lane start and making up 10 positions on that one.
Yeah, man, fun to see you out there.
Jason, how's it going, man? 10 positions in the feature race there. You looks like you got some legs around here, man.
Well, there was a lot of guys that wrecked out, so that's going to be advantageous to just running clean. But, no one is above the law here. I swiped Jose by accident at Portimao, and the penalties, some more earned than others stacked up on me. So that's the game, and those are the rules. So, yeah, I didn't get to start the sprint, just kind of played spectator there. But, Tyler is the head official for F3, and which is nice because then I kind of just get to drive. I officiate F4 where I have graduated myself out of. So, you know, rules for everybody around here, and sometimes those are just the breaks.
Yeah, it definitely is. And I know I've been in the penalty box myself more than a few times as well. I think we all have. You know, it is part of the growing pains of racing here, is finding those limits and finding the edge of where you can be. And sometimes you know, you get over that edge a little bit, and it's just part of racing for sure. So it's definitely how you bounce back from those moments and stuff that make it. And up 10 positions looks like a pretty good bounce back to me today. But I believe we're actually off to Barber for our next race here. I wouldn't say it's the same as this track by any means, but it is a very unique track like this one with its own unique challenges and so on. So how are you looking forward to that one?
Yeah, it's not a circuit that I've raced a whole lot on iRacing. I've watched IndyCar there, and I would like to go out there and check it out in person someday. Yeah, its own unique character, especially that second half of the circuit over the brows, blind crests, super fast, easy to get it wrong. So looking forward to it. As I said, as one that I've not really raced before, and then it's got its own quirks and such. So should be a good one. Hopefully, you know, the netcode gremlins we've been fighting leave us alone. Fingers crossed. But yeah, 2 weeks to go in this thing, and then on to new adventures.
Yeah, absolutely. Unfortunately, you'll look back, broadcast today had some pretty egregious netcode a couple times there, but hopefully, yes, it will keep us at bay here for the following rounds. And of course, we did mention as well, moving to the NXT cars next season. Everybody really looking forward to that. Although leaving these beautiful cars behind, you know, they are a little aged on the surface now. So we're doing our best with it here, and had some of the best racing, honestly, on the channel all season here. So it has plagued a little bit, but I think we're getting through it here pretty well. But before we let you go, Jason, is there anybody you'd like to thank?
Yeah, always, you know, my favorites, the admins, Tyler, Alex, and Case. Didn't see Case tonight. Hope he's doing okay. Got to thank Colquhoun Dylan for the sponsorship of the series. Love that guy. You know, he's a pure racer through and through. I get my car service there. My girl has had her car service there. If you're in the neighborhood, you know, give that shop a thanks and send your vehicle there for the next checkup that you need. SMB, you guys are amazing. It's just better and better, and I just appreciate you to no end, and the community as a whole. You know, we have a laugh. If friends didn't show up, I'd be sitting here by myself. So that we have full fields week on week is a huge compliment. That friends tell friends, like the Weekend Warriors cross-pollination with Stevie Ray and Michelle and Brian and such, has just been a dream come true. So we're going strong. Hopefully we will continue to in the future, but put a big NXT schedule out there with almost 18 months of planning, chasing the real world, WEC, IMSA, MotoGP, IndyCar, and F1. We love running tracks and then watching them that weekend, you know, in the real world or vice versa. We get a big kick out of that. So lots to look forward to. Stay tuned to Sim Racers Group on Slow Motion Broadcasting. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, awesome, Jason. And that schedule, just having a quick look at it, we will be touching on that more in our coming shows and as it approaches there, of course. But definitely adds another little layer there when you can kind of look at the real world too, back and forth. So pretty cool stuff coming in the near future here. Thanks a lot, Jason. We'll move on to our next one, and great racing tonight, man.
Thanks, man. Cheers, guys. Catch you in a couple of weeks.
Sounds good.
And that right there was Jason Cotcher, series admin, who put together a pretty good recovery drive here in the second race of the night. Let's have a chat with the driver who put in one of the best performances in that race, that being Traber Burns, now joining us here in the broadcast booth. Traber, welcome in. Congratulations on your I believe it was P4 run at the end of that feature race. That looked like a pretty busy 25 minutes out there. I want to ask you about your perspective in the madness of Zandvoort.
I gotta say, it's when you do have the pace, when there is enough of pace overlap, Zandvoort is great because turn one, with how it's banked, makes it really hard to defend, but it kind of ends up being 50-50. So I love it. I just wish the rest of the track was as easy to overtake as turn one, but yeah, I think it's pretty good. I would say the only thing I would like to have for this track is like a push to pass or a DRS or something like that. That would fix the racing a little bit.
Well, on the plus side, we will be having that for the Indy Next cars at the start of next season, but we'll talk about those a little bit more as we get into the final 2 weeks. I do want to ask you about this car. We're saying farewell to the F3s here in this championship, heading off to the next machinery starting in season 4 here of 2026. So I just want to ask you about this car. It's a veteran here on iRacing. It's got a really unique feel. How do you enjoy it?
I enjoy it a lot. It has the tires on it are how do I say this? I like the way the tires wear on it. It's not a crazy amount of wear. Pace still matters, but at the same time, you got to make sure you don't get caught out by it. And so, you know what? That's the really determining factor when you have guys that are all around the same pace. But if you do get guys around the same pace and they all are good at tire saving or they're all bad at tire saving, it tends to be a little processional at tracks like Zandvoort, which I don't think is unique to the F3 itself. That's just open wheel racing in general. So yeah, I enjoy it. I would say for introductory high power open wheel cars, it is a great car to start out with. But I would like to go to something that is a little more overtake friendly.
Yeah, and hoping to see some more overtaking and certainly a whole lot less netcode when the next machinery shows up next season. But Traber, I do want to ask you about the next race of this championship. We're going to be heading to Barber Motorsports Park in 1 week's time. Will we see you out there on the racetrack? And if so, what are your thoughts heading there?
I don't know if you'll see me or not. You'll have to hope that my hockey team gets enough guys to not need me. I would love to be out there at Barber. It's one of my favorite tracks. I've done it in Lucky Dog in real life, and oh my lord, it is an absolute blast. For an endurance race, it's also extremely physical, which I wasn't expecting. But I tell you, it was the most worn out stint that I have ever had doing Barber. Anyway, the hills are great. Everything about that track's just great. I mean, and they just did a rescan on it. I have yet to actually drive it since they did the rescan. So yeah, I'm super excited about Barber. I really hope I can make it because it is one of my favorite tracks.
Yeah, and after the performance that you put in here in the feature, I am hoping that we see you out there on the racetrack at Barber. It's going to be a real fun show there in 1 week's time. Traber, before we let you go and celebrate this run here, we'll let you give any thank yous or shout outs.
Thanks to SRG for just letting me pop in on random sometimes here. It's a pretty sick league. All of the guys I battled tonight were absolute top class guys. Very clean, very respectable, yet all at the top of their game, really. And I hope you guys enjoyed those battles because I had an absolute blast with them.
Yeah, we certainly got our kick out of the fight. I'm sure from your perspective behind the wheel, it was quite the fun night as well. Traber, thank you for joining us and congratulations.
Thank you, guys.
And that right there was Traber Burns, our P4 finisher. Josh, I'll pass the mic off to you to have a quick little chat with Nathan Perkins, who had a pretty interesting night on his own as well. It was basically an interesting night for everybody out there on the racetrack. So I'll pass the mic off to you to have a chat with him.
Yeah, we'll drag Nathan into the booth here. Up 9 positions into 10th place in the feature race. That's got to be a little eventful out there. Also, looks like you had a bit of an incident as well. Maybe you can run us through tonight's race.
Tonight's race, yeah, I was doing pretty well, or at least for my skill level, I was pretty happy with how I was doing in the sprint, and then my game crashed. so I just lost all of my progress there. I got back into the race as soon as I could, and I got to turn a few more laps, but I ended up in like 19th or something for the sprint. So that put me in the back, and there were a lot of cars to get through to get to 10th. So I saw quite a few unfortunate incidents happening in front of me. I was able to dodge them. Condolences to the people who ended up in those accidents, but yeah, I'm really happy that I was at least able to pull a top 10 finish from all the way in the back.
Yeah, definitely a good run there for sure, and certainly some attrition out there tonight as well, as some pretty egregious netcode that you will see on the broadcast as well. So yeah, some people falling to the wayside there, but Zandvoort, really unique track. Off to Barber next, also a very unique track. Is that one you're looking forward to hitting there, or you're gonna have to hit the books for it?
I'm gonna have to hit the books. I don't think that's one I've been on yet, even though I've been doing about 3 seasons of SRG now, and I'm not sure that one has come up yet. So we'll see. I hope it's a good one.
Yeah, it's definitely a unique track. I would get in there and start practicing right away. It has some very unique elements to it and stuff for sure. There's really nothing like Barber in the world, I don't think. But great racing tonight there, Nathan. Is there anybody you'd like to thank before we let you go?
I'd like to actually, 2 big things happened in my life over the last 3 weeks that I'd like to mention. I just got back from a trip to Japan where I did my first real life race ever. At Motegi. We did a 12-hour race at Motegi with Jacob Guyton and Daniel Lebivy. So this is, I started sim racing December of last year, and I never thought that 8 months later I'd be racing in the advanced league and doing real races. So big shout out to Jacob and Daniel. We got key 7 in our class out of 28 or something like that, and we got
awesome.
I think P18 overall out of 67
Excellent.
cars.
Wow, excellent, man. That is always really cool to hear the sim real life crossover. That it does happen. It happens for people. It can happen to you. It can start just from your passion at home with a wheel clipped to your desk down to a $13,000 rig right into a real race car at Motegi. So pretty cool stuff there, and that you're able to hang out with some of the drivers we see across some of our racing here on SMB. Thanks for sharing that story, Nathan. Very cool stuff. We are running out of time here though. Is there anybody you'd like to thank one more there before we let you go, or is that all good?
Yeah. one big one. I also
I think I heard you had 2 there.
Yeah, on the trip I got engaged to my girlfriend. So big shout out
that's pretty
to
big.
Wanlan. We got engaged at Nara Park, which is where all of the really polite deer will bow to you for food. So we just had a really casual exchange of the rings, and I think the only witness was a deer, as one of the other deer was watching us. So big shout out to my girlfriend. Looking forward to the rest of our life together, and I love you so much.
Excellent. Right on. Well, hey, we get to be a part of that little moment there as well. Thank you for sharing with us. And congratulations to the both of you guys. And I'm sure everything will be great, man. That sounds like an amazing experience there as well. So congratulations to you, Nathan Perkins, and Mrs. Perkins as well soon. So good stuff there, man. Excellent. Well, guess what? We'll check you next week at Barber, and maybe we'll speak to you again there, see if you can get on the podium. Lots of work to be done, though, to get faster around that place.
Thank you so much. I'll go work on it.
Excellent. See you next week, man.
Yeah, that's a pretty tough act to follow when it comes to an interview. So it's a good thing that that'll be the 3rd and final interview that we have on the show. We want to thank the drivers for coming in to have a little chat with us. We'll let you all know about the shows coming up here on SMB. The Ray Esports Summer Series will be at Novara this upcoming Sunday on August the 23rd. Hope to see you all there. The American Muscle Series will be back on the channel for round number 8 of their season at Sebring, as the SRG F3 Championship will be potentially singing in the rain at Lime Rock Park this upcoming Tuesday as well. SRG F3 will be at Barber. Nobody tell Charles about that, because he is going to be a very happy man indeed. The Rikmatech GT3 Challenge will be back on the channel on Thursday, August 27th. That'll be at Long Beach. More Ray Esports action the following Sunday. Never miss out on any of the racing action that we have here on Slow Motion Broadcasting by hitting that subscribe button and the notification bell. I want to thank you all for tuning into the action here tonight. And if you want to enjoy some
some of the SMB action in some slightly smaller form. I want to take a look at some of the YouTube shorts we have up here on the channel as well. Josh, that was a very, very fun race. Final thoughts before we fully wrap up the ship and head our way off to the next round of the championship.
Yeah, really excited to see next week and how these drivers handle Barber after this weekend here. Learn some lessons, I would think, around Zandvoort that you can probably apply at Barber. So really interested to see that one as we close out our final season here with the F3 cars. Make sure you tune in.
Yeah, it's going to be a hoot. Only 2 more races left in the F3s, and although the championship fight seems to be a fairly full-on conclusion, we have still got a lot of action in store. But after this broadcast here tonight for round number 10, the Sim Racers Group F3 Championship here at Zandvoort, that will just about do it. So for myself, Ron Maunz, Josh Wilkie joining me in the commentary booth, and Mike Braun, happy to have him back working all the cameras and the graphics and the virtual production hauler. I say thank you all so very much for tuning into the action here on Slow Motion Broadcasting tonight, and we hope to see you all wherever it is in the not too distant future.